Stop what you're doing right now because what I'm about to tell you could change the way you look at the Mediterranean forever. If you live anywhere near southern Europe, or even if you've vacationed there before, this is something you need to hear. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because stories like this are unfolding in real time, and missing an update could mean missing something that affects millions of lives. What's happening beneath the waters near Sicily isn't speculation, it isn't a theory, and it isn't some distant future risk. It's already happening, and scientists are watching it with growing concern. Off the coast of Sicily, hidden beneath the calm blue surface of the Ionian Sea, an enormous section of Mount Etna is slowly but relentlessly moving toward the ocean. We're not talking about a small landslide or a minor shift. This is a colossal block of volcanic rock, estimated at around 25 cubic kilometers, and it's sliding faster now than at any point ever recorded. To put that into perspective, this single mass is large enough to bury an entire major city under hundreds of meters of stone. And the most unsettling part is that magma isn't pushing it. Gravity is. Mount Etna is famous for its lava fountains, ash clouds, and glowing rivers of fire, but this threat is different. This is a silent danger. No explosions, no dramatic eruptions. Just the unstoppable pull of gravity dragging a massive section of the volcano's southeastern flank toward deep water. Scientists now know that this same process triggered a catastrophic collapse roughly 8,000 years ago, an event that likely sent a powerful tsunami racing across the Mediterranean with almost no warning. Beneath the seafloor surrounding Etna, researchers have found unmistakable scars from ancient disasters. Layers of twisted sediment, massive jumbled rock deposits, and chaotic submarine landslides lie preserved like fingerprints of past collapses. These aren't guesses. They're physical records pulled from deep-sea cores and seismic scans. Some of these deposits stretch for kilometers across the seabed, even reaching toward the African continental shelf. Each layer tells the same story. At some point in the past, the mountain failed, and the sea responded with sudden violence. What makes today especially alarming is that scientists aren't just looking at ancient evidence anymore. They are watching the movement happen live. For years, Etna's underwater flank crept along at a slow, almost harmless pace, measured in millimeters per year. But that changed. Sensors placed deep beneath the Ionian Sea have now recorded sudden accelerations, where sections of the slope moved several centimeters in just days. In May of 2017, one offshore fault slipped more than 4 centimeters in only 8 days. That's not a tremor, that's a warning sign. This shift rewrote what scientists thought they understood about Etna. For decades, magma pressure was blamed for pushing the volcano outward, but the data tells a different story. The movement is smallest near the summit and grows dramatically toward the submerged edge. That pattern doesn't match magma-driven deformation. It matches gravity-driven collapse. The deeper and steeper the slope, the faster it moves. And the deepest sections, more than a kilometer underwater, are moving the most. That doesn't mean volcanic activity plays no role. In fact, it makes the situation more dangerous. In early 2025, fresh magma intrusions were detected beneath Etna's eastern flank. New fractures opened. Pressure increased inside the mountain. These intrusions don't directly shove the underwater slope into the sea, but they weaken the internal structure. Think of it like loosening bolts inside a massive structure that's already leaning downhill. Every intrusion increases the risk that gravity will finally win. Deep below the surface, a network of cutting-edge instruments is now tracking every movement in near real time. Acoustic transponders anchored to the seafloor ping each other constantly, measuring distance changes smaller than a grain of rice. Pressure sensors detect even slight changes in water height that could signal sudden movement. GPS-equipped buoys float above the fault zones, ready to relay instant alerts the moment the seafloor shifts. Fiber optic cables running along the coast act like thousands of tiny ears, listening for micro-earthquakes too small for humans to feel. In 2017, this system proved just how powerful it is. The underwater sensors recorded not only horizontal sliding but vertical sinking as well. A section of the slope dropped by about 1 centimeter as it moved. That confirmed what scientists feared. The flank isn't just stretching or cracking, it's slowly peeling away from the mountain like a massive slab preparing to break free. The most unsettling reality is this. Even with all this technology, scientists cannot predict the exact moment a collapse would begin. They can only detect it once it starts, and once it starts, the clock begins ticking. Experts estimate that if a large section of Etna's southeastern flank were to collapse suddenly, coastal communities in eastern Sicily could have as little as 15 to 20 minutes before tsunami waves arrive. In some areas, the warning time could be even shorter. This is not a distant, abstract risk. More than 3 million people live and work along Sicily's eastern coast and nearby regions of southern Italy. Cities like Catania sit directly in the potential impact zone. Towns such as Syracuse and Taormina line the shore, their streets, ports, and beaches packed with residents and tourists for much of the year. Roads, railways, power lines, and ports are squeezed into a narrow strip of land between the sea and the mountain. Evacuation options are limited, and traffic congestion during peak tourist season could be deadly. The economic stakes are enormous. Coastal infrastructure worth tens of billions of euros lies within reach of a potential tsunami. Fishing fleets, cargo shipping routes, resorts, and historical landmarks all face exposure. A single event could ripple across international trade, tourism, and regional stability. Because the Mediterranean connects multiple nations, this threat doesn't stop at Italy's borders. Tsunami waves could reach Greece, Malta, and parts of North Africa. That's why governments in Italy, Greece, and Tunisia are now working to coordinate emergency responses. Scientists are linking national warning systems, civil protection agencies are planning cross-border drills, and international organizations are pushing for a unified Mediterranean tsunami alert network. But technology alone isn't enough. The hard truth is that physics sets the deadline, not politics. 15 to 20 minutes is the absolute limit. That means warnings must be instant, evacuation routes must be clear, and people must know what to do without hesitation. Every delay costs lives. Right now, the mountain continues to move, quietly, invisibly, measured not in explosions but in centimeters. The question isn't whether Mount Etna is unstable. The data already confirms that it is. The real question is whether humanity will be ready when gravity finally pulls the trigger.